Well, we have Palantir's earnings coming up next week, and with the market in chaos and talk of recession picking up and conflicting data everywhere, Palantir's earnings are critical to see if there's more gas in the tank for Palantir stock, or are we basically just going to trade flat for the next year. Don't worry, we'll get down to the bottom of what's going to happen on these earnings and what the stock will do if Alex bangs the table again. I know, I'm sorry, it's just one of my most favorite YouTube freakout moments of all time, and I kind of actually hope he does. So we'll have another irrational freakout to sell a stock based on something I've never heard of anybody ever selling a stock before, and kind of become the driving narrative here on YouTube once again. I know, not likely, but it was a lot of fun back then. Let's talk about exactly what I see happening, the 3 things I'm watching specifically for in these earnings, and my one big concern for this earnings call, and I'll give you my exact plan through all of it with Palantir. I just ask in exchange for you to gently tap that like button and consider subscribing too. It's super easy to do if you like the truth without the hype. All right, so this earnings season has once again been nothing short of extraordinary. You have mega caps once again still moving wildly like they're small caps, and earnings moves that once again make absolutely no sense. And see Meta for a prime example of exactly this. Now, earnings season is usually wild, I agree, and it's why I just buy according to my plan and avoid all the craziness around earnings, because the stock is never more manipulated than they are around earnings. So make sure you keep that in the back of your mind whenever you're actually assessing what's going on with the stock during this time of year. Now, we will be watching Palantir's earnings live together in real time in my group where phone members can jump in on that, but make sure you listen to it on your own regardless, because that is where all the answers to your questions are answered. Not in my reaction videos, not in anybody else's videos or anything else like that. The questions to the test are in the earnings call themselves, so make sure you're listening to them. Now remember, Palantir stock is just different than most other stocks on the stock market. I mean, there's basically a constant battle on this stock. Is it the future $1 trillion company that some say, or is it just trash and another stock destined to be bankrupt in a few years and it's just a YouTube favorite? I mean, seriously guys, people see it as another stock that Wall Street has been late to, or it's complete overhyped garbage doomed to fail. It's like Tesla still is to this day, and I know it's not as extreme on the bull or the bear side, but Palantir clearly falls into the I get it and it's going to be big one day, or I don't get it and it's just overpriced hype like many stocks that were popular on YouTube over the last few years have been. Unfortunately, once again, I think Palantir's earnings will give both sides a lot of different talking points to talk after. That's going to kind of bolster their position, which means it's going to remain extremely divided for now. But comment down below with where you stand on the stock. Let me know. Do you think it's great, or do you think it's just complete trash? Now, in regards to whether Palantir beats or misses this earnings call, I think Palantir once again has a small beat on revenue, and they also put up a small beat on EPS, and I believe they increase free cash flow once again. And for those that don't kind of understand their structure and how they report and kind of the intricacies of their financials in general, that is the number to watch the most based upon how they do their accounting. Free cash flow, that right there is the biggest number that I always look at. So here are the 3 things I'm watching for in this earnings call for Palantir. The first is guidance on new contracts. They had several new contracts that were once again announced this quarter. And once again, we have the lag that's always going to happen when you have government contracts that pay out because, I don't know, it's the US government. We can't do anything on time. Or actually, most governments around the world can't do anything on time, but it seems like ours specifically is incredibly broken in regards to just passing a budget, much less paying your bills or anything else like that. There were also a few large contracts renewed, which proves that the business model is sticky. And at this stage, it's going to be very hard for customers, especially governments, to switch vendors. And please don't even get me started on the commercial versus government side of the business. I have no idea what the mix will look like, and I don't care either if I'm being perfectly honest. Literally every single earnings call, there are complaints about that specifically, and I see it in the comments of every earnings video that I do for Palantir. I mean, basically the government grows, and we would like to see more commercial growth. And then you'll have commercial growth, and well, we see the government isn't growing at the same pace, so now that's a problem. Cure cancer, and I'm sure there will be someone out there that has a problem with that. Or me, as long as they guide to more growth in the number of contracts. I'm not going to put too much stock into whether it was commercial or government or whatever the mix is. I want growth overall, and that is what I'm looking at. Second thing I'm looking for is an increase in the overall growth rate for 2024. Now, Palantir's growth rate is the one thing I can say is a fair complaint from the bears in regards to Palantir. Although I believe the growth has been good, it has not been great, and it has not lived up to the numbers Alex has put out there for their growth rate. For this year, they put out guidance of 20%, which I'm not going to complain about. That's pretty good. But it's not enough to push the valuation much further than we are already at, meaning that there's not much more room to run this year, given the fact that the stock is already up 33% year to date, which is a nice return already for the entire year for a stock that is only guided to 20% growth. So an actual raise in guidance will give us a reason to adjust the valuation up instead of a lot of the run for the guidance that's already there, already basically being priced into the stock. But would I add Palantir stock despite the run so far if I was a newer investor and didn't have a massive position already? Well, my new buys are going down on Friday, and you can see if Palantir made the list of stocks I would buy to grow a portfolio from 0 to 6 figures and beyond for just $15 if you grab one of the last few limited spots to be a member and see the $250 Legacy Portfolio Challenge. And for full members out there, or those of you that decide to be full members, our experts are beating my pick so far, with one of our experts being up 20% in just 2 weeks. It's just ridiculous. I need to get on it and catch up because wow, yeah, that's all I can say. Anyways, it's the pinned comment down there and get your spot before the $15 founder spots fill up, or get a full membership before the sale expires if you want to see our experts picks and jump in on the earnings calls and take advantage of the free courses and the stock analyzer tool. See my complete watch list with price targets, see all my buy and sell alerts across all my portfolios and everything else. Just check out the pinned comment down there and see if a membership's right for you. And the third thing I'm looking at is management's execution on share buybacks. Wall Street likes share buybacks, guys, and Palantir already has authorization to do it. So the question becomes, if they are planning to do more buybacks this year, and why or why not they made that decision. There are goods and bads and kind of drawbacks with buybacks. So regardless of the answer, the explanation will tip the hand as to where Palantir thinks it's going over the next year or two. If they say, yes, we are going to continue buybacks because we believe this price will be cheap in a year's time, then you know they expect big numbers even if they don't guide to it, guys. Not guaranteed, it's not anything else, but it definitely kind of speaks to what they may be thinking about what they're going to do in the future. They could also say no to more buybacks, but because they feel they can make a lot more money putting that money to work in other opportunities, which that again is a bullish sign from management. So I'll be listening kind of for that and what the kind of clues we can glean from those answers that they give us. The bottom line with all of this is there's nothing coming in this earnings that will either prove the bears or the bulls completely right with the stock, but it can absolutely let us know how they're executing and kind of where they see the next year unfolding for us. However, Alex and the team over there at Palantir are not trying to win the battle today. And honestly, they're not even concerned with any of this stuff we just talked about, if I'm being perfectly honest. I mean, if you did your due diligence on this management team, you know that is not where their focus lies. So you cannot expect huge, incredible earnings calls if they're not gearing the business towards that in the first place. And that's exactly how they've run the business up until now. So I'm not expecting juice numbers to just send the stock to the moon. I mean, I won't complain if they do that, but I'm just not expecting that. All right, so on to the one big concern I have for Palantir this time around earnings. And that would be any sort of slowdown in growth at all. And the reason why I say that's kind of a concern for me is they already kind of got it, I won't call it weekly, but definitely very conservative for the year. And we've seen a lot of our other stocks that we love and a lot of companies in general that kind of were conservative and kind of, we can call it sandbagging at the beginning of the year with 2024 guidance and such like that. They're already raising guidance as they're coming into this, especially the high growth names. A lot of them are doing exactly that. And obviously we've seen what happened with a lot of other stocks. If they lower guidance or if they're just coming in line and not basically guiding to the moon for the rest of the year, it feels like stocks are getting punished and getting beaten down the other way. So that's kind of my concern right there is, Alex has been doing wonderful in the past, at least the past year or so on earnings calls. But if he gets a little bit combative, or if he's just not, I don't want to say bullish enough, but if he just kind of is more defensive and much more conservative, or maybe gives us some wild commentary on all the different geopolitical things that are going on out there, it could absolutely be something that hurts the stock in the short term. So what am I doing personally? Let me be clear and upfront with this fact first. You cannot time the market. Nobody can time the market. And I'm still seeing a lot of folks in the comments on YouTube everywhere that are basically selling and take all their gains and going all cash. And seems like everybody out there is making 69 different price predictions on every single stock. And I have no idea how anyone can keep up with all the different games that it seems like everybody's playing right now. Kind of what I meant by just the craziness that's out there, because you got some folks that legitimately are selling everything, go all cash, the market's going to dip, a recession's coming. this is going to happen, that's going to happen. I don't know. I can't keep up with any of it. Just because you decide to sell today and it goes lower tomorrow does not mean it was a good move unless you actually bought that next lower move down, which if you did that, it's probably going to go lower, especially if you're, like me, and every time you buy it goes lower. So that way, in the short term, you're still losing, except now you incurred a tax bill if you sold for a gain, and you are essentially now a long-term investor trying to day trade or swing trade or whatever the case is, and that never works out over the long run, regardless of what everybody says out there that says it's a great strategy. If you're a long-term investor, the price action that happens tomorrow or whenever is not really your concern, since nobody knows what will happen with any degree of accuracy. So what is the point in making any sort of short-term price predictions? If Warren Buffett and Peter Lynch and all the greats say you can't do it, why would I even bother with that as well? So that means if you're worried about what Palantir is going to do tomorrow, or finding the bottom, or guessing what's going to happen on earnings in regards to the stock price, or what the Fed's going to say and how that affects the stocks, or buying and selling based upon recession indicators or anything else like that, then you are simply short-term speculating or trying to time the market. That is the truth. Phrase it however you want, but that is what you are doing, and nobody can do it over the long run with any accuracy. But I guess if you want to try it, good luck to you. I hope it works out. This is also why having your plan set before the earnings call is key. And I know many of you guys hate that I say it. I say it on a lot of my videos, but planning and having price targets is key to investing, or just straight up doing a DCA and taking all those variables out in the first place. So for me, I am simply sitting back and watching the numbers and then watching what Wall Street does. If the earnings are good, but people freak out because Alex tapped the table 4 times in 5 seconds, and then he cut off one analyst, and then he kind of flipped his hair crazy 6 times, so that means Palantir is doomed and is a terrible company. Well, that's actually a great scenario for me to be in, and I would absolutely be a buyer, especially if we get under $20, as I have a lot of cash ready to deploy, because I don't care about the short-term price actions. I care about how the business is performing, and in that scenario, the business will be performing just fine. What? Suddenly the price goes down and Palantir isn't performing as a business and just as a terrible company? I see that all the time down in the comments section. I hear it in some YouTube videos too, and it is simply not true. Every single stock gets kind of decoupled from the underlying fundamentals of the company from time to time, and those are some of the best times to buy those stocks. Wall Street wants to give me Palantir on a discount. I'll happily take it. And if you want to see if I had added Palantir to a new portfolio, make sure you take advantage of the $15 tier, or if you want to see if I'm adding it to my main portfolios in real time, make sure you get a full membership there as well. Both of them are on sale right now. In addition to that, you also get access to tons and tons of exclusive videos, 3 to 5 a week. Full members get access to my buy and sell alerts, all of them in real time, my watch list complete with price targets. You get to take 5 courses for free, use our stock analyzer tool for free, get your free coaching. There's so much in the group, guys, and so much more coming. Make sure you take advantage of the sale before it expires, or before those $15 slots basically fill up and there's no more available. Again, it's the pinned comment for those of you guys that are interested. And click this video here if you want to see exactly what I'm buying in this market. And click here to see my exact plan for this market. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.